All right, Mr. Wilson, we're good.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Afternoon.
It's good to see everybody here today. Just a few reminders. This Friday is our legislative annual luncheon. This Friday, I have an attendance sheet. Would you please check if you'll be there, and if not, yes or no, so we can have a good RSVP. I'd like to. It's going to be 11:30 this Friday at the Petroleum Club. Same place last time we did it. It was very well received, and we're going to identify some of the priorities for the upcoming legislative year. We're going to share that with the commissioners as well as the legislators that will be attending the luncheon. Okay. The next thing I'd like to offer up, I know there'll probably be some discussion on this from Mr. Smith. The Natural Resources Committee went to Fort Worth this past Thursday and came back Friday. Just want to let you know I'm passing out a handout that's coming around that they gave us at the meeting that lists some facts about the activities going on in the Barnett Shale. Just a couple of highlights I'd like to share with you. There are about 1,600 wells located in the city of Fort Worth. The economic impact is $8 million annually, $8.2 million annually. There's 83,000 jobs, permanent jobs that was created by the activities going on in the Barnett Shale. And also, Fort Worth anticipates $1 billion in bonus and royalty revenues over the next 25 years. Since they've been in production since 2001, they have garnered about $100 million. They have set aside 50% of that money towards an endowment. And what they're trying to do is create an endowment similar to what the universities use in America. Because in government investing, we are restricted to what we can invest in. So they're trying to change that. $21 million was spent on one-time capital projects, and $15 million was spent on set aside for road repairs. Also, some of the issues they're dealing with is noise reduction. A lot of the wells are located in the proximity of communities, so there are a lot of creative things going on with noise reduction, and we saw some of those barriers this past week when we went there. Another area of concern for the government there is the hazardous conditions as brought on by the drilling activities. And there was one local environmental group was talking about the benzene accumulation. They thought that was directly correlated to the drilling activities, but at this time the local officials were very much concerned about that because it's not been proven yet. It's just speculation at this present time. And then they also have some issues dealing with saltwater disposal. There are major issues with that, and they have a moratorium on any saltwater disposal within the city of Fort Worth. So I know there'll be some other comments from Commissioner Smith and perhaps Commissioner Thibodeau on what, and perhaps Charles on what they saw. But I thought it was a good visit. We are on the right track. One interesting thing that I thought about was the fact that the resources in the Haynesville Shale seem to be 4 or 5 times greater than that of the Barnett Shale. So we can correlate that to hopefully meaning more revenues for us in the long term based on supply. So Smith, you want to? Okay.
Mr. President. We did have a good wet trip. I don't think it stopped raining the entire time we were over there. But the hospitality from Fort Worth was absolutely fabulous. We even got to spend time with the mayor. I guess he stayed with us over an hour, talking about all the things they were doing and some of the problems that we anticipated. We did get to see some of the sound barriers that they have put up, and they are massive. And they seem to have most of the answers to the problem that we are anticipating. But we're going to have problems no matter what we do. It's just how well we can prepare for them, and I think we probably are ahead of the game of where Fort Worth was. Thankfully, they're sharing the problems that they had with us, so we can learn from them. But it was a good trip, and we had a good driver, took good care of us, but the rain never stopped the whole time. We still got a lot to learn. Thank you, sir.
This is one other report I'd like to offer up to the committee, to the board. We went to Washington, D.C. in Mardi Gras on January 20th through the 24th, and we pretty much hit the ground running. The first day we met with Congressman Ronnie Alexander to talk about our regional water system, and we also met with Senator Landrieu. The second day of the trip, we met with a contingent of folks from Bossier Parish for a luncheon to talk about the idea of creating the utility district, and we met with Senator Vitter that day. The third day, we met with Congressman Fleming to discuss the utility district, and we attended an economic development luncheon centered around energy in Louisiana. I guess the takeaway is the fact that we were trying to get the congressional staff to help us get the money that was allocated in the ROTA bill, in the 2000 ROTA bill. There was $2 million put in by Senator Vitter, and that was sent to the Corps. And our complaint and concerns were directed towards it's taking too long for the Corps to act. And we were told while we were there that the Corps is $60 billion behind in projects. Even if they had all the money, it would still take several years to do anything. So we didn't want our efforts to be tied up in the bureaucracy of the Corps taking so long to do something. We asked if there was any way to unobligate the money and redirect it to NLCOG so we can get immediate access to the money to go forward with the feasibility study in our water district, for the water district. So they were looking at that. Since I've been back, I've gotten 2 calls from Senator Vitter's office. One of their liaison, Captain McDonald, who was a liaison with the Army, assigned to Vitter's office, called me and asked for more details on what we were trying to do, and I shared that with him. And he is going to try to work with the Corps to see what they can do if they can outsource the idea of getting a feasibility study done. Because one of the things we told them about that, we have engineers come and see us every other week wanting work, and they're just as competent as those who work in the Corps. Why don't they outsource some of that work and give it to the Corps so we can get this project done? The only other thing that I'm afraid of is that if we don't get any movement at all, we may have to probably divide with our partners in this process the cost of doing a feasibility study and go forward. Because otherwise, we may wait another 5 years and still not have gotten a dime out of this process to try to get a feasibility study done. So I think Mr. Baker and Commissioner Escalade could contest that the Bossier folks are very excited. They want to meet with us again in another week to discuss how do we go forward with the creation of the utility district. And I think that's a good thing. But I wasn't very well encouraged by what we heard in terms of the congressional staff being able to do anything for us. You know, without being too critical, it may have been just lip service. We just don't see any substance coming out of that. You know, but that's my opinion. Pretty much that's it, other than the debt service. Mr. Grant's here to talk about any questions you may have relative to the debt service. The staff and Mr. Grant will be prepared to answer any questions you may have. Pretty much that concludes my report, Commissioner Escalade. Pierce?
Yes, I was sitting here thinking when you were making the report about going to Fort Worth.
Yes, sir.
Has anyone, is there any reason why we couldn't burn or boil the salt water and boil the impurities off?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I mean, everything's possible. I mean, you can put it in some big, huge.
Well, they had some kind of sedimentation process going on, but it would still take a while for the heavy solids to drop out of this water.
Okay.
And they were looking at perhaps some other uses for it. Evaporation was one of them, and they were still trying to find a good medium to approach that problem, but they haven't resolved it yet.
Yeah, it just seems to me if you heat it enough, then the impurities would move.
Yeah. And they also.
But I just thought about that. I was just asking, had that been something that they had perhaps taken under consideration?
They also talk about crystallization of the salt water too, as a way of disposing of it. But this is going to be costly either way.
And putting the crystals in some vat, some in the ground.
In some process they're going to use to crystallize it and make it hard enough so they can dispose of it that way, in landfill perhaps. but they don't have a remedy for it, but that's why they have a moratorium on it right now. No disposal anywhere within the city limit on salt water.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. President.
Ms. Baker?
I wanted to ask about when you spoke with the captain from Central Vendor's office. Did he mention if he discussed talking about getting the money back from the Corps? Did he say anything about that?
Yes,
if they could do that?
He couldn't answer that conclusively yet. What he's going to do is contact the Corps and see why it's taking them so long, and see if there's any other alternative. We did mention to Congressman Alexander that the Sparta group had a independent contractor to do their assessment on the aquifer, so it wasn't done by the Corps. And I was asking the same question: well, why can't we get an independent agency out there in the Corps to do the assessment? So, it's one of those things that was still up in the air, unanswered. But we certainly would like to move beyond the Corps.
Well, a reason why I was asking was, remember he said he would get them together with us and do like a conference call.
Yes, ma'am.
And see about trying to either reroute the money to the NL cause or else actually say outsource it. So I just wondered if he mentioned that again about it.
No, ma'am, he didn't, but I think that's still on the table for us to discuss. So anything at all to help us move the process along. But I'm just thinking the Corps have told us on several occasions that if they had all the money they need, it would still take them years to do the project because they don't have enough manpower to do it. And that was our argument with the congressional staff. Get them folks some help. Because obviously they need some help at this point. They can't do all the work they got on their plate.
That was it. Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Thibodeau. There's an announcement at your place. There'll be a meeting of the Economic Development and NGO Committee Thursday at 2 o'clock in Government Plaza. It tells you why on here. Thank you. Dominic.
Mr. Wilson, have we ever found out, I think the answer probably is going to be no, if the parish spent the money to do the study up front, the feasibility study up front, we cannot be reimbursed at a later date.
From my understanding, we cannot be reimbursed.
Okay, so in other words, it just seems to me we either going to have to go ahead and get this thing done or wait forever.
Yes, sir. It'd probably be more feasible to, being that we have Bossier Parish is partnering with us, the study of Shreveport, and perhaps to some degree the port, and perhaps part of the Soda Parish, we can split the cost of doing a feasibility study. But at the very least, we must go forward.
Of course, that's on the agenda today, so hopefully that'll pass. And
yes,
that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else? I want to piggyback on what Mr. Wilson said. It's with regards to the utility district. What we had agreed to do with Bill Osmus and Bossier was once we got back from Washington and got a week or two to digest what we had learned, get under our belts, we were going to meet with Bossier again and see how to proceed. Not so much from what we would like to do, but more of from a status approach on what's possible. We're going to meet with them in the next week and bounce around ideas and see the best way to approach this, and we'll come back to their full bodies respectively and try to get a plan. The bottom line is we've probably lost that money. We're not going to get that money. We just need everybody to say we're not going to get that money. So the more logical or the fastest approach is going to be what we're going to shore up, what we've talked about, and we talked about it in D.C., the fact that it's a $2 million study. We'd have to fund half of it ourselves anyway. That's $1 million. For $1.5 million, we can get the whole study done probably privately if we can get the Corps off our backs. We'd ask, what we asked our representative to do, allow us to provide a list of engineering firms to the Corps which work is acceptable to them and just get out of our way if they can't give us the money. So, and then determine whether or not we feel as joining parishes it's in our best interest to move forward on our own. But if we don't get the Corps out of the way, we can't even self-fund the study because it'll have to be done by them. It's been done in the past, as you mentioned. Congressman Alexander did it for Claiborne Parish,
yes, sir,
and he's committed to help us. So, as far as us getting the money, that's really, my instincts tell me no.
But will we be able to do this if we choose to reasonably fast? I believe ultimately we're going to. We'll take a united approach, but we've got to get Bossier to agree to that, and DeSoto and the city will probably be very amenable to doing whatever because they're a player, but they're in the back seat right now and will be for a while. Did I explain it pretty well?
Yes, sir, you did.
All right. Anyone else? Okay. Communication reports?
I have none on the agenda, sir, other than we handed out a population estimate for the parish from the treasurer of the state of Louisiana. It says that we now have a population of 258,463 people in the state.
Great. Boy. Okay. All right. Now it's time for citizens' comments. I'll call you up by name with your cards. You have 3 minutes to address the commission. Any matter other than zoning. First, we have Bill Hendorf. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Bill Handorf. I live at 49 Tealwood, Shreveport, 71104.
Okay.
Good afternoon, President Escaday and Commissioners. My name is Bill Handorf. I'm the Executive Director of the Council on Alcoholism and Drug Abuse of Northwest Louisiana. The Council is a 501c3 private, nonprofit corporation that's been operating in Bossier and Shreveport for the past 51 continuous years. Our mission is to provide treatment services to virtually anybody in Louisiana suffering from an addiction to alcohol and or other drugs. And we do that without regard to age, race, or social status. In fact, about 80% of our clients are indigent and many are homeless. We operate 16 distinct programs in the community in 3 separate facilities, but today I'm asking for your help in one of our most critical programs. That program is called STEPS Detox. We've operated STEPS for the past 14 years. It's located in the Buckhalter Recovery Center, the old Buckhalter Hotel on Crockett. It's licensed by the state and is partially funded by DHH, United Way, and 2 ESG grants that are administered by the city. Even with those funds, and we are obviously grateful and appreciative to receive them, we still need to do considerable fundraising to keep it open. STEPS is the only, I repeat, the only resource for people who have no resources and are desperately wanting to get into a program of recovery. It is not an exaggeration to say that without STEPS, many of these individuals would be in jail, on the street, or appearing in the emergency room. They're with us for about 7 days. After they complete the program, they go to formal treatment, or if no treatment is available, we make sure they get to a recovery-oriented and supportive living environment. It's really important that you know that since we opened STEPS 14 years ago, we have had 11,000 admissions. That's how important it is. It is truly a vital program for our community, and it's in jeopardy due to the recent mid-year cutbacks by DHH of almost 20%. The appropriation request that's in front of you is a request for $33,000. That amount would help to reinstate the state's recent reductions, as I just mentioned, and in a 12-month period of time, it would provide detox services for approximately 73 men and women. So on behalf of our agency, the board of directors, and especially our clients, we ask for your help, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
No questions at this time. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next we have Jerry Kimmel.
Jerry L. Kimmel, 4829 Roy Road Extension, Shreveport. I'm not sure if I'm even supposed to be speaking because mine is a zoning matter.
It's coming up on Thursday's agenda for public hearing.
Yes, sir.
Well, that would be the appropriate time.
to say
That way
something.
the information will be before us, everybody will know what you're talking about.
Okay, well,
Can you make it back then?
oh, yes, sir.
Okay.
That's one reason I come up here to let everybody know that I would have been at the other meeting 2 weeks ago. You know, y'all was wondering where I was, but I didn't even know there was a meeting. Nobody informed me. Hey, I sure would have been here. And I just wanted to kind of get that clear, that I wasn't trying to let you down, you know.
Well, very good. We'll take care of it all Thursday.
Yes, sir, and I think that should do it. I just really wanted to come up here and let y'all know that end of it.
You've got time. You're on the right track.
Well, I hope so.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Would anybody else like to address the commission? All right, if not, let's move on to, do we have any old business?
None on the agenda.
New business,
sir.
please.
First, ordinance 4963, amend your health tax fund budget for donation for animal service in the amount of $2,500.
Need a motion to move to Thursday? Move Thursday. Moved by Commissioner Dominic, seconded by Commissioner Lynn. Is there any discussion on the motion? Please vote. That passes. Next item, please.
Ordinance 4964, amend your public works fund budget for a FEMA grant in the amount of $1,068,000.
Move to Thursday.
Moved by Commissioner Pearson, seconded by Commissioner Lynn. Is there any discussion on the motion?
We get a lot of this. They come in.
Yeah, Mr. Epperson.
Is this the money to buy up the land that is repeatedly flooded in that area?
Yes, sir.
Any other comments? Let's vote, please. That passes. Next item.
Ordinance 4965, amend your riverboat fund budget on the $34,280 for the matter just discussed by Mr. Endora.
Move to Thursday.
Moved by Mr. Lynn, seconded by Commissioner Pearson. Any discussion? Commissioner Jenkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to see a copy of the appropriations request before Thursday on this. I didn't get that. I didn't see it. It's not in the packet.
You're not the only one. None of us have either.
I would like to see it before Thursday.
Very good. Any other comments or questions? If not, please vote. That passes. Next item, please.
Yes, sir. Ordinance 4966, amend your juvenile justice fund budget for a probation program called Facts of Life, $50,000.
Been moved by Mr. Lynn, seconded by Ms. Baker. Any discussion? No discussion? All right. Let's vote, please. That passes. Next item, please.
Resolution 12 calls a special election in Caddo Parish to declare the dead and issue bonds and renew special taxes.
Move to Thursday.
Been moved by Commissioner Pearson.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Dominic. Any discussion on this motion? Commissioner Epperson.
Is there a way that do you have a PowerPoint or any sort of anything specific to spell out showing exactly what will transpire here on this millage? Something that we can go out and talk, to the people with. Something that we got in black and white we can kind of explain.
We have
maybe with some analogies and some situations, that we can sort of put out there.
We can provide it for you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Epperson. Commissioner Jenkins?
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to kind of piggyback on what Commissioner Epperson was just saying. I, too, would like, and I don't know what the administration got in mind on Thursday, but I think it would be proper to have a more formal presentation at the meeting Thursday as to proposition number 1, more than anything. A more formal presentation as to what we are trying to do here and what is being presented to the public, what projects we're talking about. I'm not certain if that has happened up to this point. Now, let me say this, just to be clear. I don't have any problem with moving this thing to Thursday. And I'm speaking more or less as to proposition number 1. I don't have any problem with moving this Thursday and ultimately probably will not have any problem with allowing it to go to a vote of the public so they can decide what they want to do. I have said in our meetings leading up to this, I have concerns about the list of projects that have been proposed. I have concerns that as to whether or not there was public input in that list of projects. I have concern as to whether or not there was some proper input from all commissioners into that list of projects. And I'm saying this because I don't want to be an obstructionist, but at the same time, I want to be clear on where I stand right now. And where I stand right now, I have no problem with moving it to Thursday. I ultimately probably would not have any problem with this matter of going on to the public for a vote. But I don't want my vote today or my vote Thursday to be some sign of my support for it if I still got unanswered questions, which I still have right now. And most of it, Mr. Wilson, is concerning the list of projects, and I've shared this with you, my concern about the list of projects that's being proposed. Now, are you all going to make some kind of formal presentation on Thursday, or is this just something you're sitting down here to rubber stamp? I guess that's what my question is.
No, sir. We did discuss the projects before, Commissioner Jenkins.
I'm sorry, say that again.
We did discuss the projects before, and there were some concerns raised about the projects. I went back and revised the list and looked at the most critical things that impair operation of facilities, and we pared that list down significantly. And we have that list. We could present that on Thursday, as well as this overall scenario and what we'd like to do with the funds and how it would be used. But I think the caveat here is Commissioner Escudé developed a committee of commissioners to oversee those projects. So it would be us bringing the projects to you all and you all concurring with those projects before we actually go out and do it. So there is an oversight mechanism already put in place, but we do have the projects. We can present that to you on Thursday. But there is a safeguard in making sure that we do the most critical project that affect the operation of facilities and services that we provide our citizenry. So those things on that list are tied to must-do or will have to be done type of projects, whether we do them with the bond issue or going forward. So we did revise the list, and we provided that to you all 3 weeks ago. We have that list readily available today and Thursday.
Well, I just want to be certain on Thursday there's going to be some presentation of what we're asking the voters to vote on.
Oh, yes, sir.
Some presentation on what projects we are talking about. And in that regard also, Mr. President, I hope, that amongst the commissioners there'll be some further discussion about the projects that we are talking about doing, as well as opportunity for other projects that may not be directly tied to the bond issue. I hope there'll be some discussion of that, because I simply want to make certain that whatever it is we're doing is something that all of the citizens of the parish will get some benefit from, because all of the citizens are going to be affected by what we're doing. So I certainly hope that something like that will be in order. Thank you, sir.
No, Mr. Jenkins, I assure you that no item on that list will get done without a consensus approval from this committee. That's the only way I'm supporting this. Mr. Wilson clearly understands that, and several others. In the past, we've had blanket bond issues and a broad list of projects, and the administration's pretty much done what they wanted. Well, that day is gone, as long as I have a vote on the matter. So you have all the input, and so will any other members that they want on every dime of this money, as it should be. So I hope that eases your mind. On a side note, you may prepare a presentation for Thursday. I don't want it to go any more than 10 minutes, and I want anybody to be able to understand it. Okay? Thank you. What you got?
Mr. Just want to make one comment that Mr. Grant is here today. He won't be able to be here on Thursday.
Okay.
So if there's any questions y'all need to ask him while he's here today, I appreciate it if y'all do that.
I think everybody caught that a little while ago.
Okay.
Anyone else? Mr. Dominic.
Well, that's what I was going to say. We have our bonding attorney up here from New Orleans.
Well, most of us have been to these meetings and rehashed, this is way old dirt we're eating again, so unless anybody...
I understand, and
has
if you have
some
any
questions
questions about
Right.
procedure, when this will be done, or how it's going to be done, we have a man from New Orleans
Well, okay,
sitting
and
right there.
most people, I believe, are satisfied in their minds.
I don't have any questions.
Anyone has a question for Mr. Sluter? Once again, for the third time, he's here. And he looks like he'd be happy to help. Mr. F.
President, I'll drink with you on that presentation for Thursday. And so be looking forward to that. We do it on the administrator's report?
That'd be fine.
Okay.
Anyone else? All right, let's vote to move forward, please. That passes. Next item, please.
Resolution 13 commits to reduce millage rates in the event that the electorate authorizes a new bond issue on May 1st.
Move to third. Second.
Moved by Mr. Pearson, seconded by Mr. Dominic. Is the maker of the second care to speak on the motion? No? Commissioner Thibodeau.
Yeah, I'd like to make a little amendment to that resolution. If you look at resolution number 13 of 2010, down in the third paragraph, about the middle of that paragraph, it says, the Commission does hereby pledge it will reduce the total millage that it levies in the year 2011 by at least 1.95 mills, and will do the same reduction throughout the term of office of the current members of the Caddo Parish Commission to the extent deemed feasible. And what I'd like to change in there, if we go back and start with 1.95 mills, and we'll do the same reduction throughout the subsequent years to the extent deemed feasible.
I second that.
And the reason I'd like to do this is because by using the year 2011, that really only makes a reduction of 1 year to the taxpayer. And I would like for us to send a message to the taxpayer that the intention of this commission and hopefully the next commission will be to reduce by 1.95 mils every year, and to the extent deemed feasible. So if something terrible happens, then that still gives us a way to do something other than that. But I'd like for us to make it clear to the taxpayers that that's our intent, and that's what we would like to see happen. So it would just change to say 1.95 mils, and we'll do the same reduction throughout the subsequent years to the extent deemed possible.
Very good. I concur with Mr. Thibodeau. I don't think it obligates unduly or puts any responsibility or burden on anybody that may precede us. Any other comments? All right. Let's vote on the amended motion, please. Vote and move forward as amended. That passes. Very nice. Next item, please.
Resolution 14 endorses a formal study of the feasibility of water sewer district. Freeport, Parish Caddo, Parish Bossier, and other entities in northwest Louisiana.
Move to Thursday.
Second. Moved by Mr. Smith, seconded by Mr. Lynn. Any discussion on the motion? Mr. Epperson.
Any idea as to cost? What type of firm would these bids go out to? Is it RFP or what?
Civil engineering firm
Civil
will do the
engineering?
work. And we estimate approximately $1.5 million to $2 million to do the feasibility study.
1.5 to 2. Okay, now this is, when we went to D.C. and spoke with the Corps of Engineers,
yes, sir.
We were hoping we could get something for them to help us, so that's out of question,
Well,
right?
yes, sir. The $2 million is type in the rotor bill.
Okay.
We were initially asking for the money to do a feasibility study, but somehow it didn't end up that way. So in essence, that's why we had to start over. But our request for the past 5 years has always read the same way. We would like to have some money to do the water test, water analysis of the aquifer in the parish, and we thought that would be able to cover that. But that's not what was rendered in this situation. They send the money to the Corps, and you have to have a feasibility study to get the $2 million that they sent to the Corps. I mean, the plant cost $1.5 million. The critical thing is to get the feasibility study done first, so we can know where we need to go.
Right. Okay, now, partners, is Bossier still in?
Bossier Parish is, yes, sir.
Bossier Parish?
Yes, sir.
Bossier City is?
Bossier City came to the table, but they declined because they were currently already involved in upgrading the existing plant. And they said they didn't want to pursue it at this time.
And City Shreveport?
They were at the table.
DeSoto?
DeSoto participated, but they were uncommitted. So we have 3 key players right now. There's Bossier Parish, Caddo Parish, and the City of Shreveport. And we did approach the port, and they have an interest too in this, but we don't know if that equates to the monetary interest in the program at this point in time.
You
The port of Shreveport,
okay.
Bossier. They came, we met with them, and we went to their meeting, and they passed a resolution to go forward to explore this with us as well.
That's all.
Okay, Mr. Epperson, this is real, all this resolution is doing, the city council passed it so we could have it in hand before we went to D.C. It's showing that in principle and in theory we have the support of these entities to move forward with the study, to request funding for the study. This doesn't do anything at all. And as Mr. Wilson was saying, with the Corps' money and our other projects, it's kind of like we're taking 2 vehicles on the same road trip because one of them's not going to work. So we're taking a dual approach right now. And basically that's all that Bossier's saying, the City of Shreveport saying, is we support the idea. And it was just to give us a little weapon up there to take with us. Once this goes further and we decide in the utility district, once it is formed, this body, the City of Shreveport, the Parish of Bossier, will appoint members to that board. That board will determine what goes forward, engineering studies and those kind of things. So we're still quite a ways away from getting all that done.
That's correct.
Mr. Jenkins?
Thank you, Mr. President. I believe you may have just answered my question. I just want to be clear. First of all, I think this is a great idea that needs to move forward. But I just want to be clear. This is not tied to any kind of authorization, any kind of contract, appropriate any kind of money. Okay.
Mr. Thibodeau?
My question was answered.
Very good. Any more discussion? Let's vote, please. That passes. Thank you. All right, next we have something, Commissioner Epperson?
Yes. Mr. President and fellow commissioners, I would like to request that the President, unless we have a standing committee that could possibly handle this, maybe appoint one initially. Many of you may be familiar that the fire district chiefs had come to us relative to the driving simulator. And I was just hoping that we could get some more definitive information from them, and we could maybe have a committee of this body to look at what they're requesting and see if there's something that we could possibly do, something that would benefit all of us, and just take a good look at it and see if we can do something, if we can, or what have you. So that's my request relative to this issue I have here today.
Okay, I'll see if we have a committee that would be appropriate for that, Mr. Epperson, and if not, maybe we'll form another committee. My first instinct would be rural commissioners, but I remember the discussion of this. If we're going to entertain this and ultimately do this, then I would think that it would not just involve the fire districts, but probably the parish as well, and we'd have joint ownership of. We have heavy vehicles and equipment. We could all make use of it, and so it's not really necessarily would be a rural issue. So I'll figure out where it needs to go, and we can discuss it. Maybe the sheriff's department wants in on it, or did we determine that they had way too much use with them guys?
Yeah, we didn't. So that would be part of what we do. You know,
to see how many people we can get in. Okay,
we can get into it.
I'll
get into a good, focused discussion.
I'll take care of that. Mr. Dominic?
I agree with Commissioner Epperson, and the sheriff was talking about that too. The one we got into was trying to use City of Shreveport's simulator. That was way too much use for the fire district volunteers to come down. And Mr. Wilson and I have talked about this a couple of times. It's my understanding they may be possibly eligible for a grant.
Yes, sir.
And also that they were supposed to go talk to the sheriff, I believe, to find out how much he was willing to put in, and I don't know if that ever happened, because you and I talked probably 2 or 3 times on this.
Yes, sir, they did. Matter of fact, I talked to Chief Lowry last Tuesday night at Commissioner Epperson's public forum, and I was asking what was going on with it, and they was asking for $360,000 to do the simulator. And I said, well, that went up. He said, yeah, we need 2. And I said, well, I spoke with Chief Crawford, and he told me they were still eligible to apply for a grant from the National Firefighters Association, and they will be putting that grant in sometime in February. So that's my last discussion with Chief Lawyer in this matter last week.
Okay.
But with that being said, I agree with, something needs to be done. We need to look in a little further and get a definite answer on what's going on.
Okay. I'll take care of that. Thank you. Next, Mr. Spears.
All you have is your consent agenda for Thursday.
All right.
Move to adjourn.
We're adjourned.
I did, but I
Did you want to?